Today, I'm to show you how to do Hello World in C++ in Unreal Engine, and this is a very easy way to know, and I think it's a very stable way to do this. When I've done this in the past, I've done live coding, and that might not be the best workflow. So anyway, let me show you how easy this is to do. This should only take about no more than 10 minutes at the most. I'm going to go to Games, and I'm going to go into first person. There is a bug in third person, and in the next tutorial, I'll show you how to fix the bug. So this will not work in third person, but it will work in first person. So then we click here and go to C++, and I'll just call it my test. I've done this several times because I've had all different kinds of problems with my screen recording software. And then I'll just go ahead and go create. If you don't have Visual Studio installed, does a pretty good job about reminding you of what additional plugins you'll need. So it's really good about letting you know how to install Visual Studio 2022 and any plugins that you might need as well. One of the most interesting things about it is how well integrated Unreal Engine is with Visual Studio. It's like they're practically welded together. And the other thing is that when we get ultimately into Visual Studio, Epic Games has done so much background work and has so many templates and libraries available for us. They've really done a lot of the heavy lifting. So a lot of times what you have to do in C++ isn't necessarily that mind-bending or as intimidating as it might seem. But that's not to say there's not a lot to still learn. There is a lot still to learn. So you can see right now from the screen that it's compiling the source code. And then once the source code is compiled, it's going to load the project into Visual Studio. Now I already have Visual Studio up and running, as you can see, and it's going to do two things at once. This always happens in Unreal Engine. You press one button, 100 different things happen. So what's the main two things that are happening right now is that Unreal Editor is starting, Unreal Engine. Right here, you can see it right in front of you. And then Visual Studio is also starting as well. And so it's going to kick us into Visual Studio. Now, the most important thing to note about this entire workflow in C++ is that you cannot compile with Unreal Editor open. So even though it's opened up Unreal Editor, we don't need it open. It's going to mess us up. So we're going to go ahead and close this out because it's going to cause us all kinds of problems. So we're just going to be in Visual Studio for now. We're going to write one simple line of code, hello world, and then we'll reopen Unreal Editor. So here we go. So over here in the Solution Explorer on the right side, you'll see all these files and folders. And this is what I mean about Unreal Engine or Epic Games having done so much stuff in the background. But we don't need all this stuff, so we're going to go ahead and close these up. We'll click these little chevrons or triangles, whatever you want to call them. And then we'll go here under the Games folder, and we'll expand that out. And then we're going to go to the source code file, and then we're going to go to our project file and click that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the character C++ file, and it's called mytestcharacter.cpp. That's a C++. H is the header file, and I'm going to double click on it. And all we're going to do is write one line of code so that when our character jumps, a message is print to the output log saying that hello world or whatever you want it to say. So I'm just going to scroll down here. And so this is a function. It doesn't return anything. It's a void. And we call this function, and then this function turns around and calls another function. So all we're going to do is add another function or method for it to call. And this one is just called UE log. And we do parentheses. And it requires three parameters that you can see from this little helper box. One is for the category name, verbosity, and format. Here we're just going to type in log temp, and then we're going to type in display, and then we're going to hit comma, and then we're going to, in capital letters, type text, parentheses, double quotations, and then whatever text we want to put in. So we'll just say, end of every statement, we need to put a semicolon. And that's all the code we need to write for this to work. Now we've already closed Unreal Editor. Now there's one other important thing that we need to do. We come up here to this drop-down box here, the solution configurations, and we need to be in the development editor for this to work, for this to be able to have access to this function. So then once we've done that, we're good to go, and we just click this icon up here to save everything. You might as well hit save all, get everything saved. And then what we can do is come up to our project file under games here, right click on it, and go rebuild. And this is going to take just a minute to do, so I'll come back as soon as this is done. Okay, so it's finished compiling. I'm going to be making a follow-up tutorial to this very shortly on how to make this work in the we're in the first person template, but we want this to also work in the third person template, but there's a bug in there, so I want to just remind you of that. So before I go any further. So now we're done in Visual Studio. So what you need to do now is navigate on your hard drive to where your Unro project files are stored. Files or folders. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So here I've navigated to where my project folders are stored on my computer, and I'm going to go to my test. I'm going to click into this folder, and then I'm just going to go ahead and click this Unro Engine project file, and this will start Unro Editor now. And here we are. So now I have my output log already up, opened, and docked up here, so you might want to do the same. And all we have to do is hit play, and I can hit W, and notice every time I hit the spacebar and jump, you'll see in the lower left corner in the output log, there's our hello world. So this is the easiest way I know to get started with using C++ and getting your feet wet.